Good morning and welcome to Beyond the Degree podcast. In this episode, we'll talk about the National Research and Innovation Institute, or the NRII, which has just been voted in the National Assembly. What exactly is the NRII? Why does Mauritius need it? To help us unpack all this, we are pleased to welcome again Dr. the Honorable Kaviraj Sharma Sukon, Minister of Tertiary Education, Science and Research. Minister, greetings.
Greetings.
Let us start simply. What is the NRII?
As you said, NRII is the National Research and Innovation Institute. The whole thing started with the budget speech, which the Honorable Prime Minister delivered last year, where a lot of emphasis has been put on research and innovation. So, the NRII has been set up, always being set up, to find feasible solutions to our national challenges. For decades, we have been talking about lack of water. People saying, well, why can't we have water around the clock? Why can't we have water for longer hours? So, we need to find alternative solutions. Do you think if we continue to use the same tap water for drinking, for cooking, for washing, for doing everything, will we be able to ever solve the water issue? I don't think so. That's why we need alternative solutions. Now, desalination could be one, but then where to do it, how to do it, how to ensure that the byproduct emanating from such process is not harmful to the environment. We have similar issues. We have been talking about uh, increase in number of people suffering from diabetes. In a country like Mauritius, we have over 900 amputations every year. The hospital is doing a lot to help the patient. But what NRI is expected to do is expected to help citizens identify whether they are likely to get diabetes and help them prevent it. So, one of the first things, by the way, that NRI is called upon to do is to set up a national research center on diabetes. So, what this center will do. This center is going to ensure that they have a biobank of markers or genes that are causing diabetes. So it will help to establish DNA sequencing, identify whether a person is likely to suffer from diabetes, and help that person to reduce the probability, the possibility that the person suffers from diabetes later on. Imagine a person, a family where a person has been amputated. The whole family is suffering. Another example is energy. Mauritius has as its ambition to have 60% of green energy in its energy mix by 2035. How will we do it? There are certain measures that we have already started. For example, today, anybody willing to have photovoltaic at his residence can do it without having to seek permission from Central Electricity Board. They simply have to inform the Central Electricity Board. So that's why we need NRII to ensure that, yes, we find solutions, we find feasible solutions to our national challenges.
The Minister, the NYC is already there for this, so why the need to come up with the NRII now?
Very good question. You see, MRIC was essentially funding research projects. But NRII is not only funding research projects, but it is also conducting research. It is also coordinating research. As you know, and the NRII will have a coordinating council. Why we need that? The coordinating council, if you look at the NRII bill, includes all the units, all the department, all the institute falling under government that conduct research. The NRI bill requires them to come at the same table to discuss solutions for our national challenges. So, no more work in silos, no more research in silos. The government would like, especially when we know that the amount of funding available is limited, we would like to create more impact. We would like research institutes to come, collaborate, work together, and find solutions. It is also, NRI is also ensuring that, yes, we're having people who can help the country to move forward. So the NRII is doing three things, whereas MRIC was focusing on one aspect.
Okay, Minister. So, how will I, as a Mauritian citizen, will actually benefit, will actually gain from the setting up of the NRII?
As I said, our citizens are suffering from. They want water. They want to ensure that when the consumption of electricity is at the peak, they still have electricity at their place. They want to ensure that they live healthily. And at the same time, they want to ensure that they can become entrepreneurs. They are given services of quality. They are offered products of quality. So NRII is also focusing on that, ensuring that the services, the products being offered, they're of quality. One of the aspects of NRII is that it's going to train policymakers, it's going to train people working for the government so that they come up with evidence based policies. And this is for the first time where government is putting a lot of emphasis on evidence based policies so that we would like research to be conducted prior to coming up with a policy decision.
We know that the NYC will be restructured with the establishment of the NRI. What will happen with existing researchers and staff working there?
Well, they don't have to work first thing, because they will be included, they will be part of the NRII. So I can reassure them, and this is also written in the law. If you see the NRI bill, they don't have to be worried.
And Minister, what will be the place of the researchers, students, or even the diaspora watching us today? What will be their place with the NRI?
You see, for the first time, there is a legislation that mentions brain gain initiative. So we're inviting experts, we're inviting Mauritians who are abroad, Mauritians who are here in our universities to come together, work together, help us find solutions to our problem, help Mauritius move forward, ensure that uh, they come up, they transform their ideas into companies, into enterprises, so that Mauritius gains from that, Mauritius grows. So I met, for example, a professor working in Canada. He said he wants to come and help his country. He's not looking for money, but he has worked for decades there, and now he feels that he wants to come back and help his country. I met another um, person, a professor from a prestigious UK university. He wants to come and help us develop our IT sector and ensure that Mauritius is not lagging behind in AI. So yes, people are willing, but they didn't have platform before. It was not law. Now it is law. NRII is providing the platform that allows them to come and support Mauritius in finding solutions, in supporting Mauritius to grow.
Very often, Minister, you talk about the fact that there is not enough patents being registered. So, how will this change with NRII? How will it change for businesses and jobs?
In fact, I can tell you that we have no choice than to promote, to support business people to develop ideas, to be creative, to be innovative. If you look at the statistics, I'm worried because we are several hundred times less patent intensive than countries like Singapore, South Korea. So we would like to support those people who have ideas and ideas that have the potential to be translated into business, into enterprises. So we expect that the number of patents being churned out from Mauritius to increase.
Finally, Minister, before we close, one last message. What is the promise of NRII?
Mauritius will not sleepwalk into the future. So Mauritius will use evidence-based research, will ensure that it enlists the services of its innovators, creators, in order to grow, in order to ensure that the life of citizens improve, in order to provide services and goods that our market, the international market, the regional market is looking for. And finally, to have evidence-based policies.
Minister, thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you for explaining the NRII in such a clear way. To our listeners, thank you for listening to Beyond the Degree podcast. See you in our next episode.